I'm Shannah Game, and this is your Millennial Money. Today we're going to talk about some viewer questions that we have, and this is actually a new segment we're going to launch once a month, so be sure to stay tuned for information for how you can submit your video to us. First question is, how in the world do I get over my money fears? This is a common question, and you know what? Actually, nobody likes to talk about money. Even if you have a ton of money, it's just not a dinner time conversation. So this is a really natural question to ask, and I've got 3 tips that should help you. First, just know this. Every small step you take, it leads to a big change. So if you're having trouble and you're maybe spending too much money on clothes or eating out, focus on that one area. Don't try and make these big sweeping money changes. It's just not going to work. Number 2 is you gotta have a strategy. You wouldn't bake a really complicated dish without a recipe. The same thing goes for your finances. You've gotta have a strategy. You've gotta know what you're trying to achieve. So if there are no goals in place, how do you know what you're saving for? How do you know what you're budgeting for? Get a strategy and stick to it. It can change, that's fine, but you gotta start somewhere. And last tip is it takes 60 days. So most habits take 21 days before it's a habit, but with money, because it's tricky, I'm going to say 60 days. You've got to do things with precision over and over again for 60 days, and when that's done, then it becomes second nature and it becomes a habit. So if you focused on these 3 things, they're not going to suddenly end your money fears, but you're going to get a lot closer to being really, really comfortable with your money. And my next question is, what is the number 1 thing you need to know before moving into your first apartment? There's really only one thing you need to know, and that is that you can negotiate your deposit. So if someone tells you need to come up with $1,500 for your deposit, don't pay that. Reduce it by 25 to 30%, and that is what you should pay for your first deposit. We want to hear from you. Submit your money questions to us. Upload them to YouTube entitled Millennial Money, or tag us on Twitter at Shannah Game, or leave us a comment below. Thanks so much for listening. Remember to subscribe to our channel for exclusive money video tips every week. And head on over to iTunes and follow us on our podcast, Millennial Money. See you next week. Number 1 is you need a good name. Everything is in the name. But pick a name that's going to last forever. And my advice is pick a name that is 1 or 2 words. For instance,